Hi everyone. So first of all, I wanted to apologize for deleting and re-uploading my last video. I'm kind of new on YouTube, and I didn't realize that would be a huge etiquette faux pas. I had to fix some things, and I'm not really sure how to do it on my phone. I do everything on my phone. I know it's possible on a laptop, but I was just trying to do it quickly. So I won't do that again, and sorry for those who lost their the comments they were following. So this is the comic I'm reviewing. I read it this morning. It's kind of funny. I usually do the reviews in my car, and I started doing the video, and then I noticed I was wearing these like Richard Simmons short shorts. So it was it was kind of inappropriate. It was like 80% thighs. So anyway, this is the title right here. And no, I'm not a prude about it. I'm not going to say it, but you know, I was in the Marines. I said every curse word that exists, and I actually invented 7 of them. So try and guess which 7. But I'm not saying it because like the whole point is it's kind of like this try-hard edgelord title, and it kind of embarrasses me as like a fellow creator. So comics were originally just for kids, and now they're basically just for 40-year-olds. There was never a time where they were just for teens. So this kind of feels like some alternate universe where there was like a couple decades where comics were just for teens. But the aesthetic is grindhouse, and they stick to that fairly well. So I read the comments, and one guy in particular really hates when I flip back and forth to the cover. This is issue 1. It's from the Image First. I got it for $1. So it starts off, and you can't really tell how far in the future it is. There's this woman who, as far as I can tell, is not a major character. She's going through apologizing to everyone, and people are being rude to her. It's kind of establishing woman as victim. So I usually flip through all the pages, but there's a lot of nudity, and trust me, it's not the type anyone's going to want to see. So here's the logo, and it's actually pretty good. The aesthetic is beautiful, and it just looks great. So now I got to peek at how many pages I got to skip. But basically, so there's a planet that they ship women who are non-compliant to. And it's kind of basically like Orange is the New Black in space in more than one regards, but they kind of really screw it up. So I was at the grocery store last night, and I was like 6th in line, and I looked in front of me, and every single person, I live in like a suburb of Austin. It's a bedroom community. It's completely like normal and like kind of like old-fashioned. Everyone in front of me had either the side of their head shaved, their hair dyed, their head shaved, some piercing through their nose, or tattoos up to their neck, including the cashier. And then there was one guy in a t-shirt and a buzz cut, and I thought to myself, there's only one person who can be considered normal in this line 20 to 30 years ago. So they're doing this big thing about, oh, you have to comply and you have to find a certain standard, but it's 2017 and there's no real standards. So this is set in the future, but it feels like it's set in a future of an alternate timeline. Usually in, I gotta keep peeking. Usually in sci-fi, the future is the future of the present it's written in. So when Star Trek was created in the 60s, its future, you know, the 60s were the actual 60s. The 1990s, like there was Khan and a world war, you know, because it was 30 years in the future, but the 60s were the 60s. But this doesn't really match. I'm guessing it's 100 years in the future, but culturally it seems like it's several hundred years in the past. So it doesn't, there's a lot of things where they're kind of like protesting things that don't happen anymore or kind of couldn't happen. And there's even a thing at the end that's kind of full of all these like fake news factoids. So the main character, they start introducing her, and spoiler, they do one of the best things about this, and I am going to give it a very strong thumbs down, which is, like I said, I'm only doing binary reviews. Things that are either read it or don't read it. I would say don't read it. They do this kind of head fake, which is the exact same thing that Orange is the New Black did, but Orange is the New Black did it a lot better and a lot more subtly. In that, they had Piper, who was like a white girl from, I think, Manhattan, and they made her the main character as, and even the creator said it was a way to get people relaxed because they wouldn't watch a show about a bunch of minority women in jail. They basically turned Piper into like just a supporting character in her own series technically she's still the lead, but if you watch the later seasons, she really just becomes one of an ensemble cast, and she's the worst character. I mean, she's literally the worst person. So they go in here, and so women get sent to this planet. Let's discuss the logistics of having an entire planet just for women who are bad. It's not even look at this like spacious, airy jail. So it's not a big jail, and there's a ton of room. So like honestly, if they're this non-compliant, I almost wonder why they don't just like execute them, since it's like a cartoon future where like the guy cheats on his wife and she gets angry, and I guess she probably said, "I'm going to kill you," and now she's like registered non-compliant, so she has to go to another planet, and it's just like this really transparent thing for him to get his like younger girl. It's very like 1950s. It's like, oh, I'm dumping you for my secretary. It's like, oh, I don't really know. That stuff doesn't really happen. Then we get this thing where we get like the alternate body types. Everyone's like a jerk. Like this gigantic 500-pound woman can like jump through the air, and they're all super tough. All the women can bite like 5 guys. And then here's like, you know, the 20-year-old secretary with the creepy 40-year-old guy, and like they've managed to get his wife off planet. So then there's like they do a kind of cool thing where you think the white, you know, born victim is going to be the main character, but it's actually this character who you thought is maybe just going to be supporting. But it's bad. It's really bad. It's very hateful, and I especially remember when it came out, it was the biggest thing in the news. And Kelly Sue DeConnick, she's the one who turned like Captain Marvel from a fun character into this completely miserable, militaristic, arrogant, and everyone's like that. I get a grimy feeling. There's this palpable anger. It's very acidic, and it's an unhappy book by an unhappy person. That's the impression I get. So then we get these lovely model shots of like the morbidly obese main character, and then we get this. So it's got the word I'm not saying like everywhere in a very like teenager way. So basically they found this like liberal arts professor, and she writes this very cringy essay that's bothered that she goes in and she tells all of her female students they're oppressed, and she's really bothered because there will consistently be one person who won't agree. This is the irony. She writes a whole essay about being angry at the student who is non-compliant, and that's their big thing that they were trying to go viral, this NC for non-compliant. So she basically is like, hi, I go for I work at a political indoctrination institution, and it's very frustrating because I only indoctrinate 99% of my students, and there's this one free thinker who's non-compliant in every one. So, I mean, she talks just a bunch of like, first of all, it's a very badly written essay because it'll be like very vague and just like, think of Mean Girls. It's like, that's like something a teenager would say. Then she'll refer to something and like Elliot Rodgers, I don't know who that is. That's something you would explain who it is. Then she talks about like things that are just myths, like, you know, like the women getting 77 cents for every dollar that a man gets. That's not even true. If you're a professor, you should know stuff like that. So then we get this thing where, again, so the girls in this, it's kind of like the girls in front of me in like a bedroom community suburb. They're all doing like the non-compliant, but there's no compliance. It's 2017. You do whatever you want. You're gay or straight. You can be into the nerdiest stuff and not get beat up. You can put a wig on and just suddenly say you're a girl. Like, there is no compliance. So this is built around not anything that like resonates with you the way good sci-fi resonates with you. It's simply an exercise in kind of like pretending to not be a victim while you first establish that you're pretending to be a victim. So they're standing up against nothing and no one telling them that they can't do this. And then on the back, it's just, they go, hey kids, patriarchy. Like, it's pretty embarrassing. So I know this thing is it's it's trickling along, but it was only really talked about in the first issue, and that's why I got embarrassed, because once you call something this title, it's embarrassing and it's only about attention. So an alternate title I'd probably give this book is this book wants attention and then doesn't know what to do with it. So, you got my attention. I read the book, and basically I got a very bad ripoff of Orange is the New Black set in the future of not the world I live in. So if you can go find, that alternate universe where like women are like, like whipped and beaten and are like pulling carriages in the street in 2017, this might be a big hit. More importantly, it might say something to the person. It might resonate with someone. This only resonates really with people who are just looking to be angry, and you have a certain pose, and you have some probably some bigotries that you just want fed. Men are evil, women are good, all that type of thing. But so I wasn't trying to do a theme today. But actually, after reading this, I thought it was worthy of a review, but also I didn't want to wait. I wanted to get it done because, like I said, I got a grimy feeling. This is an angry, miserable book based on fake news and like a culture that doesn't exist and hasn't for at least decades, at least in the West. So tell me what you think about this video, and tell me what you think about the title specifically. Tell me if you've watched Orange is the New Black and you agree about the head fake about Piper not even being like a lead character. Tell me what you think about, do you even want me to review stuff like this? This is like not superheroes, and that seems to be my forte. So tell me if you want me to branch out into other genres. And then probably tomorrow, I'm finally going to get back to the superhero comics I bought. And so it's like Infamous Iron Man, that's a viewer suggested review. And then Batman and The Shadow. Thanks, subscribe, like, share, and